So I want to tell you about a Tuesday I had not too long ago. I sat down at my desk at 9 in the morning with this beautiful to-do list, 12 things on it. I had my coffee, I had my headphones in, I felt ready. By 11 a.m., I had checked off exactly 0 of them. I had answered emails I didn't need to answer. I joined a meeting that went nowhere. I reorganized my desktop. Twice. And somewhere in there, I spent 20 minutes reading about a productivity system I never actually used. Sound familiar? Here's the thing, though. I wasn't lazy. I wasn't unqualified. I genuinely wanted to get things done. The problem wasn't my job or my calendar or even my to-do list. The problem was that I had 0 real discipline around how I was spending my time and my energy. And honestly, I think a lot of professionals are quietly living in that exact same gap. The gap between how productive they know they could be and what their days actually look like. That's exactly what this book cracked open for me. It's called The Power of Discipline by Daniel Walter. And I'm not going to give you fluff or empty inspiration. I'm going to walk you through the real ideas from this book. The ones that actually changed how I work and how I show up every single day. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Daniel Walter is a best-selling author who spent years studying high performers. Not just athletes or CEOs, but regular people who somehow manage to consistently do what others only dream of doing. And the thing he kept finding over and over again was this. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's not something you're born with. It's not reserved for elite soldiers or marathon runners. It is a skill, a completely learnable, buildable, trainable skill. And just like any skill, the more you practice it, the better you get at it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 of the most powerful lessons from this book. Some of these are going to feel obvious at first, and then hit you in a completely different way. Others might genuinely change how you think about yourself and your potential. Let's start with Lesson 1. Okay, this one might be a little uncomfortable to hear. Motivation is overrated. I know, we've all been there. Watching a video at midnight that made us feel like we could take on the world. We've made the lists, downloaded the apps, set the alarms. We felt fired up. And then, 3 days later, nothing had changed. Here's what Daniel Walter says in the book. Motivation is like a wave. It comes in strong and then it goes. But discipline is like a tide. It moves consistently, regardless of how the weather feels that day. Think about James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. He wrote every single Tuesday and Thursday for years, not when he felt inspired, not when the ideas were flowing, every Tuesday, every Thursday, even when the words were terrible, even when no one was reading. He didn't wait to feel motivated. He had a system. And that's Walter's whole point. Stop asking yourself, am I motivated enough? Start asking, do I have a system? A system is a scheduled, non-negotiable routine. It's not, I'll work on this when I feel like it. It's, I work on this at 7 a.m. for 45 minutes every weekday. Full stop. You remove the decision entirely. Because the moment you start negotiating with yourself about whether to show up, you've already lost. Here's how to apply this. Pick one goal. Just one. Write down exactly when, where, and for how long you will work on it each day. Treat it like a meeting you cannot cancel. Don't rely on feeling ready. Just show up. Every time. Let me ask you something. Why is it so easy to eat junk food when there's junk food in the house? Why is it almost impossible to focus when your phone is sitting right there on the desk, screen up, buzzing every few minutes? Here's the answer, and it might surprise you. It's not weakness, it's design. Walter talks about something called environment design. The idea that your surroundings shape your behavior far more powerfully than your willpower ever can. Because willpower is limited. Your environment is constant. There's a remarkable story that Walter references in the book. During the Vietnam War, a huge number of American soldiers became addicted to heroin. Researchers were bracing for a massive addiction crisis when they came home. But something unexpected happened. Almost 90% of them simply stopped using it after they returned. Not because of rehab, not because of willpower, because their environment had completely changed. The triggers were gone, the social pressure was gone, the availability was gone, and the behavior changed with it. Now here's where most people go wrong. They try to change their behavior without changing their environment. They keep the cookies in the kitchen and wonder why they keep eating cookies at 10 p.m. So here's what to do. Do an environment audit this week. Look at your workspace, your bedroom, your phone's home screen. Ask yourself, what is making discipline harder right now? And then remove it. And then ask, what would make discipline easier? And put that front and center. Put your book on your pillow. Put your gym shoes right by the door. Put your phone in another room when you sit down to do deep work. Design your environment so that the right choice is always the easiest choice. All right, this lesson might change how you see yourself in a really good way. Most of us have grown up with this idea that if you want something badly enough, you just use your willpower. You grind through it. You white-knuckle your way to success. And if you failed, it was because you were weak. But here's the surprising part. Willpower is like a muscle, and it gets tired. Scientists call it decision fatigue. Every single decision you make throughout the day, what to eat, what to wear, what to say yes to, what to say no to, drains your mental energy. And by the time evening rolls around, you're running on fumes. That's why you can be disciplined at breakfast and then completely fall apart at 9 p.m. Walter's answer isn't to fight this, it's to work with it. This is why Barack Obama famously wore only gray or blue suits during his presidency, why Steve Jobs wore the same black turtleneck every single day. They weren't making a fashion statement. They were protecting their cognitive energy for decisions that actually mattered. The people with the highest discipline aren't the ones with the most willpower. They're the ones who've set up their lives so they need to use the least willpower possible. Here's how to apply this. Identify your single most important task, the one that requires the most focus and discipline. Do it first, before email, before Slack, before anything else. That's when your willpower is freshest. And then start automating the small decisions. What you eat for breakfast, what you wear, what your morning routine looks like. Every decision you eliminate is energy you save for the work that actually moves your life forward. I want you to imagine two people for a second. The first person decides they're going to get fit. They sign up for a gym, commit to working out 6 days a week for 2 hours each session, cut out all sugar and carbs, download 4 different fitness apps, and buy a whole new set of workout gear. They go absolutely all in from day one. The second person decides they're going to do 10 push-ups every morning. That's it. 10 push-ups. 6 months later, who do you think is still going? Almost always it's person number 2. And there's real science behind why. Walter explains that the brain craves completion. Every single time you finish something, like even something tiny, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. And that hit of dopamine motivates you to do it again tomorrow. Small wins build momentum, and momentum, over time, builds discipline. Okay, there's a story about Jerry Seinfeld that really stuck with me. When he was a young comedian trying to get better at his craft, he used a dead simple system. He hung a big calendar on the wall. Every day he wrote jokes, he put a red X on that date. And his only rule was, don't break the chain. That chain of red X's became his discipline, and that discipline eventually became one of the greatest comedy careers in history. Here's how to apply this. Start embarrassingly small. Want to read more? Read 1 page a day. Want to exercise? Start with 5 minutes. Want to meditate? 2 minutes is enough. The goal in the beginning isn't transformation. The goal is consistency. Because once consistency exists, transformation follows naturally. Okay. This might be the most important thing I say in this entire video, so I want you to really sit with it. For most people, discipline feels like pain, like deprivation, like constantly telling yourself no while everyone else seems to be having a great time. It feels punishing, heavy, joyless. But Walter completely flips this idea upside down. He says, discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's about caring so deeply about your future self that you're willing to be a little uncomfortable today. Think about it this way. When a loving parent tells their child, "No, you can't have candy for dinner," is that cruel? No. It's love. It's protection. It's caring about that child's well-being more than their momentary comfort. When you say no to the 3rd hour of scrolling and yes to getting some sleep, you are being that loving parent to your future self. When you say no to skipping your work block and yes to showing up anyway, you are investing in the person you're trying to become. Every single time you choose discipline, you are sending yourself a message. And that message is, I believe in you. I believe you're worth investing in. Every time you give in to the easy option, you send the opposite message. People with high self-discipline don't have more self-hatred. They have more self-respect. That's the reframe that changes everything. Here's how to apply this. The next time you're about to skip something important, don't tell yourself, I have to do this. Tell yourself, I choose to do this because I love the person I'm becoming. That tiny shift in language can completely change how discipline feels. It moves from a burden into something that feels like care. Can I be honest with you for a second? Every single person who has ever built real, lasting discipline has also failed, repeatedly, quietly. They missed days. They broke streaks. They made promises to themselves and didn't keep them. Every last one of them. But here's the difference between people who build discipline and people who don't. And this next part might genuinely change how you think about failure forever. Disciplined people don't quit when they fail. They have a plan for failure. Walter introduces a rule in the book called never miss twice. And it's beautifully simple. Missing once is human. Missing twice is starting a new habit, and not a good one. If you miss your deep work block on Monday, don't spiral. Don't tell yourself you've ruined everything. Just make absolutely certain you show up on Tuesday. If you eat something you regret at lunch, don't let that become a story about how you've already failed today, so you might as well give up. The first slip doesn't define you. The second slip is where the real danger lives. Think about it like dropping your phone. You drop it. That happens. But you don't then pick it up and stamp on it. You pick it up, check if it's okay, and keep going. The people who build lasting discipline are not the people who never fall. They are the people who fall and immediately ask, how quickly can I get back up? Here's how to apply this. Create what Walter calls a relapse plan. Literally, write it down somewhere. Write, if I miss a day, here is exactly what I will do next. Having that plan already written removes the shame spiral. It tells your brain this is not a catastrophe. This is just step 2 of the process. You know what to do. Now do it. All right. This is the lesson that ties everything together. And once you really get this, I think everything else is going to click into place. Most people assume that discipline always feels hard. They picture highly disciplined people grinding through pain every single day, fighting their impulses every waking hour, just suffering through it. But that is not how it works. And science backs this up completely. Here's what Walter reveals. The more disciplined you become, the less effort discipline actually requires. And this is because of how the brain physically changes with repetition. Every time you repeat a behavior, the neural pathway for that behavior gets stronger, faster, more efficient. What once felt like a massive effort, waking up early, skipping the distraction, sitting down to do deep work, slowly, gradually, becomes just what you do. It becomes your default. It becomes automatic. Think about when you first learned to drive. You had to consciously think about every single thing at once. The mirrors, the pedal, the steering wheel, checking your blind spots, using the signal. It was genuinely exhausting. Now, you can drive while having a conversation, listening to a podcast, and thinking about what to have for dinner. You do it without thinking. Discipline works exactly the same way. It is hard in the beginning. It does take real effort. But through repetition, through consistent daily practice, it becomes who you are. Not something you do, something you are. Walter calls this the compound effect of discipline. Small daily actions, stacked day after day, month after month, produce results that look almost miraculous from the outside. But to the person who showed up every single day, it's just the logical outcome of doing the work. Here's how to apply this. Commit to your system for 66 days, not 21. Research from University College London shows that 66 days is the real average time it takes to form a genuinely automatic habit. Put it in your calendar. Tell someone who will hold you accountable. And on the days it feels hard, remind yourself that this temporary discomfort is literally wiring your brain for ease. Every time you push through, tomorrow gets a little bit easier. All right, let's bring all of this together, because I want these lessons to actually stick with you. Lesson 1. Stop chasing motivation. Build a system instead. Show up whether you feel ready or not. 1. Lesson 2. Design your environment. Make the right choice the easiest choice. Remove the friction between you and your goals. Lesson 3. Stop wasting your willpower on small decisions. Protect it. Use it for the work that actually matters. Lesson 4. Start small. Embarrassingly small. Build momentum through tiny wins. Consistency always beats intensity. Lesson 5. Reframe discipline as an act of love for your future self. Not punishment, not restriction. Love. Lesson 6. Failure is not the end. Never miss twice. Have a plan for when you fall down and keep coming back. And Lesson 7. Discipline compounds. Every day you practice it, it gets a little bit lighter, a little bit more automatic, a little bit more like you. here's what I want to leave you with. Right now, somewhere out there, there is a version of you that woke up early today. That did the work. That said no to the distraction and yes to the goal. That showed up even when it was hard. That person is not superhuman. They don't have some advantage you were never given. They didn't get lucky. They just made a decision one ordinary morning to start. And then they made the same decision the next morning and the morning after that. Discipline is not a personality trait you either have or you don't. It is a decision you can make right now, in this moment. Not Monday, not next month, right now. The power of discipline isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. It's about understanding yourself deeply enough to build a life where your actions actually match your values, where your days reflect the person you genuinely want to become. You clicked on this video today for a reason. Maybe you're frustrated with where you are. Maybe you can feel that gap between where you are and where you know you could be. Maybe you're just tired of starting over. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know this. You are more capable than you are currently giving yourself credit for. And it starts with one decision, one system, one small habit, one red X on the calendar. Go do it. Your future self is already grateful. All right. That is the power of discipline. 7 lessons that I genuinely believe can shift the way you work and the way you live, if you let them. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 7 lessons landed hardest for you? Which one are you actually going to use this week? I read every comment, and I would genuinely love to know what's sticking. And if this video gave you even one idea worth keeping, please hit the like button. It helps more people find this kind of content, and honestly, it really does mean a lot. So, if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications, because I put out videos like this every week. Books, mindset, the kind of stuff that actually makes a difference in your day-to-day life. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.